Okay, can you hear me? Are we winning? Are we live? I think we're live. I feel like I haven't done this kind of streaming business in 1,000 years. So I'm probably gonna forget where like all the buttons are and trigger like 15 accidental straft hat incidents or something ridiculous. I also have one less monitor since the last time I did this, so keeping the stream, keeping an eye on what people are saying might be a little difficult, but we'll make it work. Basically today we're gonna look at this model here, just untilt it. We have this very rough like block out design. We're gonna take this, we're gonna make a few caveats on it, we're gonna make a few little adjustments where necessary, and then we're done. Basically, we're just gonna finish it. We've done it before, we'll do it again. Let me show my reference up on the stream as well, so you can see what I'm looking at. Is this it here? Yep, that's the one. I don't know why. Obviously this was from a previous stream, but I just have an image of like a turned over lorry like propped up against a house, like ready to show at any time, at any moment. So I don't know why. I just don't know why it's there. My own stream setup feels alien to me. But yeah, I'm gonna quick check my reference and I'm basically just gonna get started. The one I want is the little image pack of artillery stuff. Yeah, here we go. So, I think you can kind of tell what I was going for with this design, but I feel like it didn't really like, I don't know, I mean it looks alright. I think I quite closely based it off this design here, but this looks way cooler on a vehicle like this. I think what we need is something kind of more like this when we were. I'm going to turn the music down a little bit, it's a bit loud. I think this is kind of what we need to do, something like this, or something like this here in particular. Table suit. Will missile racks have any kind of critical damage? Yes, they actually do. So when they get destroyed, missiles are like, they're really powerful in the game. So one of their debuffs is that when they get hit with something, like when they blow up, they do a bunch of like splash damage to the rest of your mech. A lot of people don't know that, and that's our fault because we haven't conveyed it yet in the mech customization. But when you load them on your mech now, you'll be able to essentially get like you're gonna get like a warning now that pops up that's like you're loading on like a high explosive weapon, and if it gets hit it might blow up. So yeah, basically in short, yes, but the people didn't know about it, which is not a great precedent, but now they'll know, and it's actually been in the game for a very, very long time. So what I'm kind of imagining right now is like maybe if I get the pencil, we could kind of have like a block here, kind of have it like come in a bit like this, bring it down this part, something a bit like this, and it's a more interesting shape than what we're dealing with before. We actually want to remove a couple of missiles from this as well because it has a few too many missiles. It was a little too potent in previous tests. You would just kind of get like, you'd hear the beeps and then like 20 missiles would arrive. This one isn't really the big rocket, this one's like the small rockets. There's like many small rockets. The big rockets are the other one. The LRCS blade or whatever I called it. I think I just called it the blade. Did I not post a picture? Oh, I only put that in the Patreon post. I honestly thought I posted that on Discord as well. Let me show you the big rockets. World premiere. Big rockets. No, where would I have a picture of that? Here. Here you go, check this out. These are the big rockets. You can load about 4 on a pylon. And those are the big ones. These are like the cluster swarm ones, but these are the big ones. What are the chances? Several hundred songs on this playlist. Stream gets started. EOD soundtrack jump scare immediately. Alright. I'm gonna start on blocking out this new shape. Get my reference up and ready. Oops. I will try not to do my usual, like, I've started doing the 3D modeling part, I will now enter a vow of silence and actually talk through the process a little bit. What I want to do here is basically just, I have this like shape idea in my head, right, and I want to see if it even reads well. And there's one other thing I really want to change about this particular design, is the, you see the way it attaches here? It's like kind of flimsy, you know? Like it doesn't look cool in any way. It's like boring. It's flimsy. It's just like a flat square. I want to make something more interesting here, so it feels like it's attaching in a more meaningful way, I guess you could say. Like the other weapons have like their own kind of ports and stuff that go on there. I was thinking the other day about, particularly about like this image here, and I was kind of looking at like, it's just kind of a box with like a bunch of cuts on it, but like it looks right because it's real, and like almost everything that's real is going to look right by default. But if you made this as a 3D model out of the gate, it wouldn't probably look that great because it's so simple. But I think when people are designing these things in real life, they don't care like at all like how it looks, you know. They're not that bothered about that, so they just like go, yeah, bevel here, you know, like Autodesk 360, whatever. Simplest design possible, which makes sense, but obviously we end up like weirdly trying to extract some kind of visual identity from these like things. These want LRM vulture look. I know what you mean by like LRM, like in a mech war sense, but I don't know what the vulture is. Is that a particular like mech, or is that a particular like set of LRMs or something? So one other thing I want to do with this is the actual missile tubes. I want to make it modular because if we end up like adjusting the number of missiles, which is, you know, for balance reasons, which is not unlikely, we obviously want the number of tubes to actually match, right? If it doesn't match, that would be kind of lame. So what I want to be able to do is just change it nice and easy if that situation arises. Also, it'd be nice to reuse the same missile tubes for everything else that I do in this category of missiles. Vulture's an LRM mech, let me look it up. Oh, the Mad Dog! Yeah, that was the one in the MechWarrior 4 opening video. I like that mech quite a lot, it's really cool. To know about the MOBA game Battle of Titans? Honestly, not really, but I know that one person in the Discord plays it a lot and like talks about it in the Discord. But to be honest, I just don't know the game at all. So I kind of like this more bulky appearance already, though it's kind of like, it's maybe a little bit too big for the mech. Proportionally. I always use the Velican for bases, but I want to get the size around this one. It's always kind of just going to be a brick, you know what I mean? Like, it's a missile box, it's going to be a box. It's just like, how do we make it the most interesting box that it can possibly be? Now, we could go skeletalized, like this. This has some potential to it, so maybe I'll look in that direction. So I'm kind of noticing about the, what I'm noticing about my reference here is it has this like nice little like frame on the inside. I see what you mean, table soup, yeah. I suppose, like, we're not gonna change the mechanics of it, like, depending on, like, where you shoot it. So, you know, we might as well make it seem robust enough. Take the hits. You know what, table soup? That's actually super viable because we have other weapons in the game that do that. So, the code is already done. The infrastructure is already ready. So now you got me thinking about it. The shape kind of leans into that as well. I'm just thinking about how to do this. Is he gonna swing open? Is he gonna fold open? Should they go like up and down, left and right? You know, the tricky questions here. Maybe something like that, like it goes like up and down like this, like just like locks into place, goes like these two like open up at the same time. It's so square. Like it's so big and it's so square. Maybe it should be like thinner and longer. Or just like position like further back or roll as a unit. Getting the balance for these things correct is really important for the design. Because they don't have it, like you can really, like the players, like, you know, they couldn't look at it and tell you that's what's wrong, but like they'll feel it, you know. And I kind of like this idea of like the opening shutters. I think it's cool. It's got something to it, seriously. Think about 2 seconds. I kind of like this shape overall. I think it's got some potential to it. Maybe give it a similar door at the back here. To make them fold up? Or you mean like inside itself? Yeah, that could work, couldn't it? You like several sections. And then it kind of goes like clunk, clunk, clunk. I think it could be done, but I actually think I like the solid block visual more, because you get this like very readable, like understandable shape here at the end. If you see what I mean, like with the, you get this like very like, you can really like see that it's open, you know what I mean? And I think that's kind of neat in its own right. Maybe the backside could have like a shuttered one, and the front side has these like heavy armor panels that like come up. But it visually reads quite nicely, I think. It's like almost a bit too big. Or like a bit too, like, it doesn't fit on the hard point that well. I think it needs to be integrated better into the actual design. Needs an utterly true, you know. Like the weapons that open up right now don't actually have an opening sound, and when I think about it, that's a horrible thing. That's something we need to work on immediately. We need our best minds fixing that ASAP. And I think this side being like, this side being kind of thick makes this side like look way too thin when you see it. So I'll need to do something about that. I think the tricky part about this design is just balancing such an enormous box, you know, like on a Mech, and making it make sense. I think scaling it down like that, yeah, scaling it down helps a lot. It's still enormous. Let me get a Kukushka in here. I want to see how it sways up against that, because I think it's going to be really big. Where can we paste this Kukushka in here? Big rig together. Give it a little size check. Yeah, it's about the right size on the Kukushka. The Kukushka's hardpoint comes out like really far, like way too far, honestly. It should be way tighter to the body, I think. Yeah, the size strikes me as about right. Am I going crazy, or is this Kukushka like bigger than the Velikan? And that's not... Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Why is the Velikan smaller than the Kukushka? That's not... That's not right. Is it? Do I even know my own game? It feels wrong. It feels very wrong. Let me check the game real quick. I feel like I'm going crazy now. I thought it was smaller. Okay, you can show the game here, maybe. Yeah, here we go. It's a little squid, but we might do. Possibly we don't make do. Okay. I think the servers are switched off for this particular build. Yeah, not sure though. Like, it feels like the slices are wrong here. Let me check an engine. Got a project open. Are the missiles recoilless? Yeah, they are. Oh, I just wait for the engine to load up here. Okay, here we go. I'm in the engine now. And I'm gonna buy a Kukushka here. Huh. I feel like I've just been transported onto an alternative timeline where the Kukushka is bigger. Like, it really is taller than the Velikan. That's so strange to me. Honestly. I guess I just made it like that, but I don't know why it's throwing me off so much. It doesn't feel bigger, am I crazy? Like, why is it bigger? Because it's not as strong on average. Like, it gets like knocked over and like killed a lot faster. Okay, well, we've had our crazy little what do you call it, like a digression into the fact the Velikan's weirdly smaller than the Kukushka. I always felt like the Velikan's torso should be smaller as well. Well, not always, obviously, because otherwise I would have made it that way, but it's a recent feeling that the torso of the Velikan is too big. But we're just gonna let it ride. Okay, back to what we were doing before. And we'll get some more med. Size-wise, it's decent. I think I'll have a little, maybe a tiny smidgen larger. You're telling me you don't know this guy, Kukushka, but you're modeling his mech. Will Ethan be arriving? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. We'll see. I think he's possibly in the dredges of working on some heinously difficult programming or something like that. When will this fully launch on VR? At the same time it's launching on PC, which is not announced yet, by the way. But the test is announced and will have VR, so next year, early February, there will be a test. You can play, everyone can play. You can drop in some matches, you can build some mechs, and you can play it in VR. Do we think that maybe we should use squares? No, I think the grid of circular stuff is just kind of cool. I just think they should be a bit like larger, so they feel like they're filling out the space a bit more. Yeah, larger is better. Okay, I'm back. When it launches, how much money will it cost? Well, we haven't announced that yet, but it's going to be a very reasonable price. If you look at like comparable indie games in the same sort of genre, you can kind of make an educated guess, and it'll be around. We're just going to match kind of about the same as those. Reasonably, it's a reasonably priced game. Will there be anything like the 81mm Oilicon rocket launcher? I don't know. Let me look it up and find out. Let's see. Is this the 81mm rocket launcher? Oh, I honestly, there is one that's a little bit like that. There's like a dumbfire rocket pod that just like fires out a stream of rockets. So the answer is yeah, probably. I think as best I can tell anyway. I'm not super familiar with that rocket launcher, but seems like it, yeah. It doesn't look too much like it, but it performs quite a lot like it. If it's just like a stream of rockets anyway. So what I'm trying to do now is just tackle the fact that this weapon feels like it barely fits on mechs. I just want to integrate it into the design a bit better. It definitely needs to stand off a little way, otherwise it's going to have clipping issues. Which kind of makes it harder in its own way, actually. Back up with a good way of tackling this. Well, I will come up with a good way of tackling this. It's just a question of how many design iterations are we going to go through. Usually when I'm designing a weapon, it's going to have like a pod here and then a barrel that comes out of it. But not necessarily like a large flat face here. So getting something to feel like it fits on this large flat face, like alongside the mech, is I think where a lot of the challenge comes from in this case. Because this large flat face feels very like heavy and bulky. Um, so doing something a bit different here is kind of... That's the challenge in play. It's kind of neat, I like that. So I'm just thinking about now is like what kind of shapes can I use to like sweep the design in a bit more. And this is already an improvement, I think. We're stepping somewhere in the right direction. Whoa. This is the new Mech? No, this isn't the new Mech. It's just a new rocket launcher that you can put on your mechs. No new Mech here. Sorry to let you down. Yeah, you have the Velik and the Kukushka like sitting in the same place. I would get confused by that as well, to be fair. I mean, I did get confused by that like literally like 2 minutes ago. I was like, is the Kukushka always that big? And the answer is yes, it was. It's weirdly large. Jeff has went to bed, yeah. Let's see, I can pull up Jeff, get him out of bed, and we can see how this looks on Jeff. AKA the Tempest, AKA Concept 5, AKA the Mosquito. What about some sort of lengthways feature on the top to soften the boxy shape? Yeah, I'll try that after. Let me just quickly grab the other mech for scale here. We can have a little look, see how that fits on. So your new mech to ever be modelled on stream, actually, the Concept 5 Jeff / Tempest is the official name. I feel like the name Tempest never really stuck. Like, I hope it will stick, because I think it's a cool name, but it definitely just like didn't stick so far. Like, he's kind of Jeff. Even in my own mind a little bit. You can actually see something kind of interesting here. If you look at like these different like red, blue, pink, white, green, yellow, what this is the actual like damage regions of the mech. Visually, when you damage a mech, this is the texture that I use to distribute the shader onto it. So when you shoot the hip area, it uses this like, it grabs like the blue color, or like if you shoot the leg, it grabs like the white color. I don't think that's something we've ever really shown in depth before, but the mech has a very complicated material system that drives all these kind of things. And obviously, I guess at the time when I last had this model open, I was checking out the Tempest damage regions for whatever reason. sip of your water. Bit of water. Alright, let's just remove all these materials for now. Yeah, oh, it actually fits kind of nicely on a Tempest, size-wise. The Tempest is kind of like... It's a mech I have weird feelings about, because in some senses it looks quite nice, but in other senses I feel like it was marginally undercooked. Like, I don't know, it got done kind of fast, like it only took like a couple weeks to make this whole mech. And the cockpit and like everything for it, you know. But in some senses I do feel like maybe it could have deserved a little bit more detail and time. I always thought that when it, like, the POV of it from, like, above, when you see it in-game, was always really cool, and I was always very happy with that. But overall, it was like, did it hit the mark I wanted it to hit? I don't know, like, kind of. For once, we actually have a name ahead of time, and for once, I was the one who actually came up with it, too. This is the Pillar, and I call it that because when it shoots, it makes, like, a big pillar of smoke. And it looks kind of cool. So I thought it was a decently fitting name. Oh, I know why the looks so much taller than the Pelican, because the feet aren't on the same level. If you move the feet down, it's still taller, but it's not as much taller. But yeah, the scale difference between like the Tempest torso and the Pelican torso, I guess it's not like enormously different, but it feels very different, especially the long ways and like the width. Pillar Jeff. What I want to make sure of though is that there's enough clearance here, because I'm playing a dangerous game by trimming this in a little bit. Because on the Jeff, I don't think it has enough clearance, or it only has like a millimeter of clearance, which actually is kind of cool and does make it fit better, but it is a dangerous game to be playing because we don't want too much clipping in the game. Like, there's already a little bit of clipping here and there. We want to minimize it as much as possible. But I do kind of like hiding the internal mechanism like this. Like, it's something I don't do that often, but it's an interesting thing to do because, like, this mechanism is just, it's slightly bogus, you know? It's just like a one hard point type thing. The mechs can magically spin their weapons around, so if you conceal it, it feels more legitimate, I think. Have a look at the close the doors on the front. Yeah, because I moved this like that, it's sticking out. This is a fairly unique shape. Like, there's no other weapons that I think look much like this, which is something I like about the way it's mounted on here. And you obviously won't see inside it very often, but when you do, you know, you'll be like, oh, there's something in it. I think I can make this work. Yeah, I can ship this. Obviously not like as it is, but I think I can make this into a design that works. I do think adding some long shapes on the top is good too, like someone mentioned. Something like this, you know, like a bit of strengthened like rib on it. Are there any plans for a weapon with a mech with 3 to 4 light weapon slots? I never really like. We usually, yeah, it's an interesting question. I think if the cairn was being designed like today, with like what we know about balancing and like the more like conscious thoughts of like the way that the game has panned out, we probably would have given it more, like 4 light weapon slots or something. So I would kind of like to experiment with it. I just don't want to pull too much away from other mechs. I always kind of like how it feels compacted, in a sense. It's like a little... Like, it feels very armored and robust, you know? It's like, this is a missile box that isn't going to blow up. Obviously it is, but it has to take enough damage for that. We could probably include a few curves here as well, just to make it feel a little more interesting. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to have like a really light mech with like, or like a medium or sort of mech with 4 light weapon slots on it. The balancing of the game is a lot more existent now, so like we can push things like that, and it and it won't cause like huge disasters, you know, like years ago. Well, you know, honestly, less than a year ago, you were kind of looking at a situation where the only valid mechs were the ones that ran double hard points, so your Velikan and your Tempest. The state of play now is not quite the same. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot more going on. And I think that does allow us to do some more crazy stuff. Try and use the new Blender UI here, get a lot of timeline going. Make a little animation for opening this up, I think. Location, 60 seconds in, put up to here. Location, same with this one. Not 60 seconds, sorry, 60 frames. Then we can just pan this backwards and forwards as the needs be. I would like to hollow these out a little bit, actually. Except on the end here, so we'll do it manually. Grab the boolean. What I want this to have is like... Can make an arachnid mech with 4 weapons. So we're like kind of firmly sticking to our bipedal guns right now. We're like, this is a bipedal mech game, this is what it's gonna be, at least for now, you know. We're committing to it heavily. I think it looks very different, to be honest. The catapult is just a very different mech. I think there's more to like a mech, you know, than just like the vague body shape. I think you've got like the legs to consider and everything. And it's fairly different. Let me tell you something though. Battletech, they've really taken all the good mech names. You really have to shop around a lot to find some mech names they haven't already pinched. Which, you know, fair enough. They were in the game. They were in the game first. A long time ago. But leave some names for the rest of us. I think that's actually going to be a pretty easy model to finish. Like, I'm going to start kind of adding details onto this now, cleaning up the mesh from my sketch version. We're going to be at something usable. Not necessarily in no time, you know. The details, they can take a little bit of time. But, not in a lot of time. Won't take forever. I do want to look at having some kind of folding gate on the back as well. Thank you, Greencoat. I don't know when you left your text in the Twitch chat. It's been a bit tricky to keep an eye on both of the YouTube and the Twitch at the same time. But thank you for your kind message. I hope you're having a good day as well. Oh, a little stretch. So, Kijiko mentioned earlier on the idea of like a rolling shutter, or not so like a rolling shutter, but like a telescopic kind of like cover, if that makes sense. Maybe for the back that could work. Like it just like goes like you have like a box at the top and the bottom, and it goes like clunk clunk clunk. Now I have another option in the back as well. I don't have to show like missiles like this. I could just show like a vent at the back that like gets open and closed, which would be cool in its own right. Showing missiles like this might be cooler though, and once it does open up. Let's see what I can like concept here. You know, in hindsight, I don't know if I can make this work. Like, it needs kind of like a believable, like, frame. I'm realizing here that it's not exactly mirrored well around the center point. But when I do mirror it around the center point, it improves the design, so, you know, all's well that ends well. Oh no! He's not closing all the way anymore, and this part's now not big enough. There we go. Okay, now we're good. But now it's like too tall. It's all gone wrong. It's falling apart right in front of your very eyes. See if we can just fix this. Nice and easy. So first I just want to move this down. Hang on, let's grab the let's go to the mirror. Go cursor on this 3D cursor. Move it to the sort of like midpoint of this cylinder. We're doing a live fix up job here. We're gonna sort this out. Okay, it's a good start. It's a good start. Now, next up, we're gonna move this guy down. What I've kind of done is here by accident, there's like a center point of the entire world. And I just kind of haven't really hit the mark on mirroring things across that center point, which is a fairly rare mistake for me to make, but it does happen. It's okay. Let's fix it up now. Oh, thank you, Club Smarin. I'll probably stream more. Well, okay, let me not commit to that because a lot of the work that I have to do is barely streamable because it's just like hours in engine, like fixing stuff and setting stuff up, and that's, you know, that's no good for anyone to watch. But when I'm making new assets and stuff like this, it's pretty streamable. And it's, you know, it's pretty good. If you're in the Discord, we do like dev posts in there, like, you know, basically at least once a week. We kind of, we've been off the YouTube Shorts game as well for a little while because basically just we were so busy getting everything ready for the PPT4 announcement, getting all the plans concrete and all that. Hello, Nathaniel. Hammer Pass is huge. It's the biggest map yet. It's bigger than Destination 93. And it's far more involved as well. Yeah, streaming is hard to commit to. It's just like a fun thing to do when I'm making certain things that are compatible with streaming. It's just not compatible with most of development, unfortunately. But yeah, Hammer Pass is enormous. Maybe I can show off on the stream a little bit later. And it's responded pretty well to player testing too, which is the part that makes me the happiest because I would have hated to make a big, huge map and put loads of work into it that nobody enjoyed. But yeah, no, people are generally liking Hammer Pass. I think it's our best map yet, to be honest. And I'm excited to see how it plays in the 10v10. Mostly fixed my little mistake now. We're nearly there. Gonna be a little bit of lunchtime soon, a little bit of snack time soon. I'm getting kind of hungry. We might have to hit a BRB in a minute. I know. I'm getting an overdose on the fat rat. It's not an artist that I listen to a lot either, but like it's not an artist I dislike, not by a long shot. I think they're fairly decent, but they are all copyright free, and that's, you know, that's kind of huge for streaming. I just checked, by the way, it is genuinely on shuffle, and it has been this entire time. So this is just the Fat Rat triple shuffle. How to make it a 4? I mean, it's out of my hands, really. I have no control on where this goes next. There is a 4th song in the, at least one more Fat Rat song in the playlist. So, you know, hypothetically, it can be made into both. It can happen. Anyway, that's my blunder from earlier of misaligning the mirror now. Mostly fixed. So we are good in that regard. And now all we need to do is just add enough shape work and designs to make this actually interesting and figure out the rear situation here with the missile tubes. Get some kind of vent or you know, just straight up like opening door. No, the shuffle, it's not happening. Oh. What's up, Trouble Monkey? It's going pretty good. We can't be overdosing a beast rodent. The rat is stuffed, if you will. What I'm considering here is like, do I want to fill out this area in here more, or like just kind of leave it like with a load of like random details in it, but like kind of open? Or do I want to add like a fill to it? I'll max it out. Oh, hello, Rainbow. I could kind of like make it a bit more interesting and like stack the missiles up like this. Although I don't know if that even is more interesting. That might just look a bit silly. What if I was just to move maybe the last two a bit forward? Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'll stick with that. You think having it open as like an armor piece could be cool? Yeah, well that's what we're having on the front, and I want to match that on the back. So you see we have this on the front that goes like, whoop, whip, you know, cracks open like that. I want to match that on the back here. Be pretty good. Will it be guided or unguided missiles? So these ones are radar guided. If you look on the channel, actually, we have a video that we just posted like I don't know, a couple days ago, called like PPT4 trailer or like Mech gameplay test trailer or something like that. We put a few username there. We put a few video names in for the YouTube algorithm to figure out which one's the best. You can actually see the guided missiles firing in that video, and you can see how they work. They have like a lock on, and then once they've locked on, you can shoot them off at a target. So yeah, it's radar guided, and you know, it's kind of interesting. I'd say probably one of the parts of the game that interests me the most at the moment, because these radar guided missiles, they can be fired like at a lot of different targets. Well, you know, what I'm trying to say is like they can be fired at like enemies that you can't see, but if your teammates can see them, you can get the shot, and that's super interesting to me, because you have this new level of like team play involved, and you also have this new level of like, how do I not get destroyed? How do I hide, or how do I blow the enemy's radar off, or you know, this, that, and the other. And that's super interesting to me personally, as a player and designer. Putting on the EOD playtest trailer name banner. What does that mean? What does that mean, Kichigo? What does that mean? But yeah, the artillery part of the game excites me a lot. Like, avoiding being killed by it and killing people with it are equally as interesting to me. Will there be cool smoke effects for each missile? Absolutely, there will be. I can actually... Let me show you guys something. Hold on, if you just give me a moment here. I'm gonna swap the screen share over to something different. Okay, you guys can see this, yeah? You've not been seeing the static game window the whole time, I hope. But you can see this now. Let me hide this down. I think I can give you some audio here. Give me a second. My stream setup is so... it's, you know, it's unique. So once this loads up here, I'm just gonna turn the audio down a little bit there. It might be a bit loud. Single player, person. Just loading up. Oh, okay, I understand now. You're speaking like gacha language to me. Unfortunately, that's a language I'm very much not fluent in. I had a dream last night. I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, in a cold sweat. No, I was actually pretty chilled out about it all. I woke up and I had a dream, and I'd been dreaming about an entire like EOD April Fool's event, but instead of an April Fool's event, it was just us like adding infantry to the game. It was like, I don't know, who's the fool? I think it would be us for doing that to ourselves. It's weird. Oh, I accidentally have it spawning AI enemies in. Yeah, you can see some AI enemies over there on this mode. That's shouldn't be the case. Everything's like loading up. This is how it looks in editor, because all the shaders compile like almost every single time. Yeah, I added loading screens now. There's loading hints. There's it loads a lot slower in editor, so you got a good look at it there. But there's loading hints. There's loading animations and stuff. You're gonna see the UI is gonna like appear in a second once the shaders compile for that as well. It's not how the game normally looks, guys, I swear. I have to watch out because that enemy AI has no consideration for the fact the game is loading. And he's just going absolutely crazy on the targets. So let's see if I can unlock someone and fire some missiles. Although the UI hasn't actually loaded for it yet. Might be able to do it anyway. You hope all players spawn at the same time? Yeah, they do. What you're seeing right now is very unrepresentative of the game, because this is like a dev mode loading. Nearly there. Got my screen UI. 25 shaders left to compile. Here we go. So yeah, I can lock people like this. I can lock that guy over there. He's locked now. I can see he's 303 meters. Then I can fire a missile out like that. I can like curve them as well if I want to. This is the LRCS blade. So this particular missile, it doesn't like the lag is really bad because it's an editor, by the way. The game will not run like that. The LRCS blade, it's a very heavy hitting missile, and it has the unique kind of properties to it that it doesn't really like, you don't get a lot of them, you only get a couple of them, and you kind of, when you shoot it, you can curve it around a lot. The other ones, they're just going to kind of go up and like come down, but the LRCS blade, you know, you can get like a curved shot like around a cliff. So like if I was like down here and I had this guy like locked, like, oh, a little bit of focus there, like I lost window focus. Hopefully that guy's not going to shoot me, but if my teammate was like spawning this guy and you imagine there's like a cliff here, then I could like shoot to the right, keep that target locked. I'm accidentally swapping to this target because I've moved my cursor closer to it, but I could shoot like around the cliff and you're gonna see it'll curve a lot to like the left and the right. Whereas the other type of missiles, you get a lot of them, but they only curve Like they just go like up and then they come down. Whereas these ones will turn to like the side as well, which is kind of neat. But yeah, like there's so much stuff in this version of the game that if you guys only played the last playtest, like there's things that you probably had never seen before. Like you can see the radar sweeping here. There's the RWR segments here. These red indicate that these mechs are spotting me on their radar. They're just target dummies, but they still have active radars running. This guy here is the target, you know. There's a ton of stuff in this that isn't in there before and makes a huge difference to the game. Like, you probably... that you can notice as well. Like, if I turn away from these guys here, like, see that guy there? I don't have a signal. Like, I can't see that guy on my radar because my radar is only scanning this like 45-degree quadrant, if that makes sense. Once I turn it, I get him on the radar and then he's tracked. The radar's like tracking him. Doesn't need to search for him anymore. So yeah, a lot of stuff like this is very, very different. And like it also makes a huge difference because like if you see that target all the way out there, like he's really far away. But as far as I'm concerned, like I'd have to visually acquire him. Like I'd have to actually spot him and hit him like that. Because the radar has a limited range of like 800 meters to a kilometer or something like that. And that guy is exactly... see how far away he is. Can I get a track on him? He's 500 meters, so I guess I've got the short range radar on this thing. So yeah, the radar, yeah, he's just there. You see once he's in radar range, and then boom, he's outside radar range. So the red triangles rather than little rectangles. I actually agree. We're still updating the UI for it. Right now, it's only functionality complete. It's not like visual design complete. And we're going to be actually have a UI mock-up that's going to show a lot of new stuff on it. Like right now, for example, there's one issue with it. Like this radar is, this is a 1 kilometer wide. Like from here in the center to here in the north. Like that's 1 kilometer. But your radar, this radar, only has capacity out to 500 meters. The new radar visuals are going to show your current radar's capacity and stuff like that. I just noticed that we removed the IFF switch, but we didn't remove the IFF switch text. I'll write that down on a list of improvements to make. But yeah, basically, we're going to have it so it'll show your like radar sector that you can scan within, so you'll know how big that is. What's the fastest speed you can go with a mech? You know, the honest answer is that I actually don't really know. Because there's a lot of customization options, and like, if you remove weapons or you remove certain things, then your top speed can be way faster, you know? Now, in the past, people have hit outrageous, like, triple digits on the mech speed. So I don't know how fast it can be. It's probably around 80 or 90 units. Thereabouts. This one's pretty quick. I mean, I'm in a chem right now, and he's a heavy chem too. Like, I'm carrying those strike weapons, I'm carrying tridents. I think I might even have an armor package on. He's running a good 68 knots on the flat. So, is it knots? It's not knots. I think it's kilometers per hour. Maybe, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's kilometers per hour. But whatever unit it is. He's saying 68. This guy's not really even being built for speed. Like, he doesn't have improved motors or anything. So you can probably hit like triple digits if you really build for it. It might not be possible, but I'm gonna say it's probably possible. Every time I click off the engine, the like editor freezes. Oh my god, he's flying. But yeah, I don't know why they're flying here. I think it's because they're just target dummy mechs. Not so for boats, yeah, but not so also for like airplanes and other stuff, so, you know, like, there's a lot of, you know, you can use knots for other stuff. I'm pretty sure we're using kilometers per hour though. Like 99% sure we're using kilometers per hour. Okay, I'm gonna put the BRB text up, and I'm gonna get something to eat, and then I'm gonna come back and we can finish this model. See y'all in like, I don't know, 5. Maybe if I go and make like a whole sandwich or something, maybe it'll be like 10 minutes. But I'll be back soon. Alright, now my old BRB text says I'm eating pie. I will be eating pie. Great news! I got some sausages. We're back in the game. I'm going to swap back now to Blender. There we go. And we can keep going this while I eat some sausages. Maybe this could move back like a little bit. Yeah, I think that's an improvement to the general sort of like balance of the weapon. Yeah. 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 So I'm just having a few sausages. They're pretty good. So right now I'm just checking the reference a little bit to get some ideas for the backside and how it's going to open up. this vision is honestly quite cool. I kind of have it, but the problem is that what you're looking at is like it doesn't really have much like balance to it. Like it doesn't, like the front end's really heavy, but then the back end is like really light. You know what I mean? It needs to be about the same, I think. I'm just playing with ideas here while I eat these sausages. As a consideration for future dev streams, what parts of the game, like, being made would you guys like to see the most? You know, what interests you the most in general? Because usually we stream, like, new assets being produced because it is easy to stream compared to other things. But, like, if you could pick what you were going to get to watch on the stream and see made live with your feedback and everything getting fed to it, what would it be? What would you choose? Well, environment creating is a good one. I've never really done that much. I only did one stream of that. That's 2 votes for environment creating. We could get that on the cards. That could be done. With EOD, there's always more levels and environments to be built pretty much all the time. Alright, I've finished eating my lunch. Let's lock in. I've been kind of, I've been sitting in anticipation of this draft start hitting any minute. For those who aren't aware, this is being like streamed on Twitch at the same time, and on the Twitch, I've set up a bunch of what could really only be described as quite dumb stuff. There's like various different things where if you watch a Twitch stream, it starts counting like points up, and then once you reach a certain number of points, you can trigger like, I don't know, various different things to happen, and those include like 1v1 games and stuff like and honestly I can't remember what I put on there, but I know it's mostly ridiculous. throwing javelin weapon like the mech has like an arm and it like tosses it, or like something that gets like launched. I'd say it's not sadly for me, it's luckily for me, because I get to... Oh, look how nice that shape is. I get to hold on to my title for now, right? As the undefeated in the streamer challenges. And I feel like I might be off my game today. You might beat me today, this might be the one. I got no Ethan to back me up, and he's pretty good at games. So I got no backup. This could be the time I get beaten. Yeah, something that's launched. Hex, do you know what the LOSAT is? It's a real weapon system that was trialed in development. Because we're building something based on that. Yeah, if you know the LOSAT, and if you don't, we're doing a weapon. It's quite similar to what you described. It's basically like a heat tracking rocket launched projectile. So it'll be a seeker. Yeah, the hypersonic telephone pole launcher, exactly. It basically just launches a giant like tungsten or steel or, well, honestly I don't really know what it's made out of, but I know it's a big metal rod, and it just fires it towards the target, and it has a heat seeker on it. And you can use this against ground vehicles primarily, and we're gonna have that as a weapon in the game, so you can just launch like these enormous damage weapons that have like no splash or anything, and can be defeated in certain ways. So you have very low ammo, but if you hit them, like, it's gonna hit harder than probably even the railgun. Now this is a backend I actually quite like. The idea is to have two vents like this. So when you fire, all the smoke and like sparks and stuff is going to just shoot straight out of there. But yeah, we have that actually programmed in the game. We just haven't made the assets for it yet. It'll probably be something we put in the final version, you know, like right before early access or during early access. You know, you can't really make a compelling case against a giant steel telephone pole knocking you over. Your best bet really at that point is countermeasures, because you're not going to stop it with armor or anything. So if you hit some flares or whatever, you might be able to defeat them. The steel pipe sound if it hits you. Honestly, that would actually be quite fun. Like, just to take that sound and then like modulate it enough so you can't recognize it, and then just like slip that inside the overall sound effect. Everyone watching right now, you're all sworn to secrecy. If I do that, you must never tell. Oh yeah, it's moddable. The game will be moddable when it comes out. I say it's moddable. It's not moddable yet, because it isn't out. We haven't developed that part of the game yet. There's going to be, you know, you can check out the roadmap to see the stuff for yourself, but to give you a short summary while you're here. um, you're gonna look at like an early access release. I nearly said the prospective date for that. That would have been bad. It'd be like delete the VOD, delete the VOD. But like no, you're gonna see an early access release, and the game is gonna develop for that. And then as we come towards 1.0, the mission editor is gonna get added, and the mod support is gonna get added. Those will be out in time for like the full version of the game to be out. So that's gonna be a big part of it. It's just gonna be a huge development task. So it's one of the last things we're gonna add. Yeah, I mean, when that time comes, like, you're basically gonna have a whole engine toolset. Like, you'll just have all of Unreal Engine at your disposal to add whatever you see fit, quite frankly. For better or for worse. But I'm actually a huge, like, I love mods in games, so definitely for better. And then you can host your own, like, custom, like, modded servers or just do whatever you want to do. Losat is your second favorite projectile concept. Okay, well here's the thing about the... let me make a case. Let me make a case why the Losat should be your favorite, alright? Rods from God, okay, it's kind of cool, you know? But they never built a prototype. The Losat had prototypes. They mounted it on Humvees, you know? You could probably... I mean, it's probably in some museum somewhere. You can go and look at it, right? It's a way more interesting concept weapon because it got a prototype or two, right? Whereas the Rods from God is just like a sci-fi idea that people have like tossed around, you know? And I don't think it would actually work, right? That was like the point of it. But, you know, the Losat, you could go out and... I mean, you basically buy one, right? They probably sell them in the shops. Like, they're real enough. Well, okay, maybe not the last bit, but like, you get what I'm saying here. You're picking up what I'm putting down, probably. Yeah. I think the way they like integrate into the roof of the Humvee is such an unusual but interesting design to get to look at. Yeah. There might be, yeah, well, I can't prove there isn't. I'll put it that way. I certainly couldn't prove there isn't. It was pretty cool in that Call of Duty campaign from years ago. I don't know which game it was in the series. It's been far too long to remember. But it was pretty cool. Ghost sounds about right to me. That sounds about right, yeah. For like the time period of when I played that game. Or at least I think I'd only watched that one on YouTube. I don't think I ever played that particular game. I've actually played a surprisingly low number of Call of Duty games. I think I've only played Black Ops 2 and 3. And that is maybe like Modern Warfare 2 or like Modern Warfare 3. Like, really not very many of them at all. Well, I suppose if I had played a lot of Call of Duty games, my pace would be a bit different, right? I'm sure based on what I'm making, you can guess what kind of games I spend most of my time playing. every campaign is legendary COD up to World War II. Wasn't World War II like is that a more modern one or is that an older one? I watched this video. It's a super like I like him. I think he's quite a good YouTuber, but he is tremendously pretentious in the best way possible. Called Jacob Geller. He does good videos though, honestly. And he made this one video about like Call of Duty torture scenes, and it was like it was kind of a weird video because it was like, why do they have torture in Call of Duty so much? Like they're constantly like, you know, you can't get them off it. They're just the protagonists of these games are always torturing people. And I kind of, you know, he presents kind of this case that it's like a weird like propaganda thing. And yeah, I mean it probably is, but like my point about it, my curious question is like, why from like a plot like writing point of view, like as creators, like is that the go-to? Like why is it like, okay, new scene, the good guy's got the bad guy, what's he gonna do? Torture. Like I guess they have a script they follow, right? Like a way they do it. They have their go-tos. I don't remember what the video was called anyway, but I know that it was a Jacob Geller video. But I guess it started to like, it made me ask questions like from a creative perspective, like, why is that the story you're telling, like over and over and over again? Does torturing the bad guy really resonate with people? Maybe. I mean, when you put it like that, it really sounds like it would, right? But it doesn't make you look like a good guy, you know? It makes you look like a bad guy. Best games to introduce torture gameplay mechanics outside of the narrative. Okay, I mean, yeah, you're right about RimWorld, but I feel like that wasn't on, oh, what's the RimWorld creator called again? I don't remember his name. Tyrian? Maybe that was a different guy, but I feel like that wasn't on his, that wasn't quite what he came up with when he was writing the game's script. Just to make the good guys look kind of bad. Yeah, that makes sense. I always find the, have you guys seen like Ghosts? Like, you know, you have Ghost, right? And he has that new mask. Like, originally he had that like spray painted white like balaclava with a skull on it, and that was kind of badass, alright? That was like, at the time, that was the coolest thing anyone had seen in a game. Okay, not really, but it was pretty cool at the time. And now he has this like sculpted thing on the front, you know? And it's like this like big like 3D skull on the front of his mask. I think he's trying too hard now, you know? Like, when he had the skull spray painted on the balaclava, that was cool, because it was like believable, right? It was like, this guy has put a skull on his balaclava, and like that's like just something that you could feasibly do as like a rogue soldier or whatever. But now it's like this is like cosplay. Like he's doing cosplay on the like while shooting people, you know? It's like, oh, this guy's he's trying too hard, you know? Like before he was cool, now he's kind of a nerd, right? Yeah, RimWorld is such a brilliant game. I'm just thinking about RimWorld now. Yeah, stream's over, guys. I'm gonna go play RimWorld. EOD's canned. I'm just gonna go and spend another few hundred hours with the colonists. When I play RimWorld, I love like basically like I'll like this sounds kind of psycho when I put it out like this, but it's just like a funny thing to do. Is that like when you get like a new colonist, I look down the list of like who I'm chatting with on Discord at the time, like who my friends are, and I go, oh, that's my friend, like that's my friend John B. Plonker, right? So I'll go. So I'll name the next colonist after them, and then I just like report to my friends like what horrendous things have happened to like their like colonists. Sounds kind of bizarre, but honestly, I recommend it. It's good fun. Adds a little bit of extra comedy to the experience. You gotta get back at your friends somehow. True. I mean, usually it's them getting back at each other, right? Like, I don't usually do anything bad to them. They usually do something bad to themselves. Would it look better to staircase all the barrels on the y-axis rather than staircasing only half of them? I tried that. I didn't like it as much, to be honest. I think it looks better as only half. It just didn't quite have the right appeal to me. Like, it looked a bit more unsteady, I guess, and a bit less like something real. Like when I staircase all of them, like here, I'll show you what it looks like. I just don't quite like it as much. I didn't get it right here, to be fair, but you know, I just think the half and half looks better. How good is the VR support? Would you like the politician to answer? I'll go, getting better every day. But that is the truth of it. It's a little rough right now because the game's early in development, but we are improving it a lot. And by the time the game comes out, it's going to be a very smooth experience with none of the early hiccups. Yeah, that's my politician's answer for you. How good is the VR? It's getting better. By the time, you know, you're really having your hands on it, it's gonna be good. Do you think if staircasing would look better if there were more rows? Yeah, I think you're probably right. But this is about how many missiles we want, so you know. It's like the balancing implications, right? It's like it would look so much better if there was more missiles, and then I had like twice as many missiles, and then the entire like game becomes artillery simulator. Will you be able to show all the buttons? Yes. It's a very important part of it. I think it'd be too sad. It'd be too sad if you were in VR and there were some cool buttons and you couldn't just press them. I tried installing that railway mod for World. It was so complicated. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't get the resources together. My colonists were bleeding out from infections left, right, and center, and I think that's kind of where I left it. So I'm just trying to improve the details around here because this is like a generic sci-fi detail, to be quite frankly honest with you. It doesn't even look that good, so I'm gonna change it up, make it look something more like a military vehicle type detail. Yeah, VR games where you can't interact with all the buttons, they make me sad. They make me so sad. Especially VR games where you have to play with mouse and keyboard and you can't just like grab the throttle or whatever. It's like, no, no, no. Like War Thunder's a good example of that. If you guys chatting here, like, how many of you guys are like VR players versus like desktop players? Because I imagine quite a lot are desktop. Before summer VR. I'd love heatsink here. That is actually a very good idea. Let's look into something like that. Or just something even like this, you know, just something more military-esque that really sells it more. You don't even own a VR helmet? Fair enough. Yeah, there is one button, Oisin. And I'll tell you, if you press that button, you're done. It's over. We actually enabled the self-destruct button fairly recently, and it will blow up your mech. I'm pretty sure anyway. If we haven't, I'll be a little sad, but I'm pretty sure we enabled the self-destruct button in the cockpit. I think the Steam frame is going to be really cool. I'm hoping to get one as well. Yeah, I have the Valve Index as well, and I have a Quest 2. I never use the Quest 2 though. It's only for like ensuring EOD compatibility with the Meta line of headsets. I feel like I'm so used to the wires on VR headsets that I'm like I just don't mind it. I'm just so used to trailing around a cable everywhere. I think a really interesting thing happened with VR headsets is that, like, how would I put it? Like, you kind of have this interesting situation where I think there's two issues for, like, VR, like, general adoptability, you know? Like, but the two reasons why people don't game VR more often, you know? For one, like, there are no games, like, you know, there's just no games. Like, there's very little software that's worth picking up for VR compared to PC, right, or console or anything else. Like, the selection is overwhelmingly limited. And the other reason is that basically, like, it's just a pain to set up, right? I take it off the shelf, plug the cables in, do this, that, and the other, you know. And most people, like, I've set up a pretty tiny little system for getting it on and off in about, you know, a minute. But, like, at the beginning, when I first had VR and I didn't have that, it was like, you know, 10 minutes to get VR going, and then, you know, then you have to load it up and, like, get the game going, and then, like, you've done all that, like, you've spent 15 minutes just to get your system up, and then, like, the game might not even be good. And I've been using, like, Valve hardware, so I had a Vive, like, way back, and now I have an Index, and as I understand it, like, setting up a Quest 2, it's even worse than setting up, like, the Valve ones work well. The Quest, they're not even, like, they're painful to set up, right? Like, you know, it's a situation where I feel like you're just kind of, the technology is at odds with, like, wide angle adoption, but what it's not at odds with, it's a bunch of us mech fans, right? Having a good fun time playing it. I think the only people who are really running VR right now in any meaningful way, like for games, is people who like cockpit stuff. Quest 2s are horrible, yeah. Steam Link fixed the issue for it. You just put your Quest headset on and click 2 buttons. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Like, I'm aware that, like, it's getting better, but, like, for the Quest 2, there's a lot of people, like, a lot of my friends have it as well. And I have one friend who is, like, super chilled out. Like, he's a really cool guy. He's super chilled out. I have never in my life seen him as pissed off and mad as when he was trying to just set up a Quest 2. Like, and just turn on and play with his headset. So I feel like these things, especially, you know, for like wide angle usability, right? Like most people here, like statistically, if you're in my chat right now, like if you're here, if you're watching, if you're joining in, you're probably an enthusiast of games, of mechs, of like, if you have VR, you're probably an enthusiast of that. We are going to be like way more tolerant of this stuff than normal. I think the frame, well, I think the potential the frame has, they've kind of marketed it as like, you know, you can play all your regular Steam games on the frame. I don't think that's what most people want, because, you know, you've probably got a TV if you want to do that. But what I think people might get out of it is the, they might get some kind of like, you know, it's going to be Valve. They make good hardware. Like, their hardware works. When you plug it in, it just starts, right? So what I think is having a headset that actually you plug it in and it works, yeah, that's going to do something, I think. I think if anything's going to hook people, it's going to be that. And Valve obviously has an incredible reputation for their hardware. I see people who've never really been interested in VR like, ooh, I want a Steam frame, you know, just because it's Valve, right? It just works. But this, yeah, honestly, Dan, sorry, it's a little bit difficult to read. Dan, I'm just gonna call you Dan. The problem we had with like part of the marketing is, like when we do our little videos, like people kind of, we show VR in like one part and then the rest of it's on desktop, and we show desktop like 99% of the time in those like marketing like TikTok videos. But people like think that the whole game is VR, and like the game is developed for desktop first. I'm not going to say it's like VR second, but like it's developed to be a good game before it's developed to be a VR experience, if you know what I mean. Like, we're not slacking on the VR side of things, but we're making it a fun game before anything else. And that includes PC, and is mostly done on PC. So yeah, unfortunately, we just confuse people a little bit with our videos. You have a question about Linux compatibility? Ethan wants to make it Linux compatible, as I understand it. And in the past, when people have played it like on a Steam Deck, for example, apparently it's worked pretty good. So that's unfortunately all I can say. I don't have a Linux setup on my computer, and we haven't done any official testing. But in the future, I know Ethan wants to make it compatible, and I know that people have had decent experiences running it on the Steam Deck, which is obviously Linux. A charging energy blast weapon would actually be cool. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, like, making EOD as a VR game as well has made like certain things like quite difficult. But it's worth it, I think, because when you sit in that cockpit and you start flicking switches, you really feel it. If it could run on a Steam Deck, then you could probably run it. Yeah, I mean, again, we haven't done any first-party testing there, so it's like no promises, right? But I don't own a Steam Deck. But once, you know, we get there. Alright, I'm back there. Humanoid design. I suppose when you say humanoid design, Fundy, how humanoid, right? Because like our mechs are obviously chicken walkers, you know? That is the style. So like how humanoid do you want to go? It's a tough question, right? Because you have to fit the theme. If you don't fit the theme, you know, then it's not going to be as cool because it'll stand out in the wrong way. So how human do you go? I'm not like, I expect you to actually answer the question. It's just like it's like a metaphorical thing. That's the wrong term. You know, it's hypothetical, yeah. It's like, how human do you let your mechs get? Inversely, how, like, military do you let your mechs get? Because if they just become too much of a walking tank, it's not as cool. They need that little bit of sci-fi to them. It's a fine balancing act. Humanoid mechs, boo, boo. That's funny. I honestly like both for different reasons. But I do think that like when you make a humanoid mech, you should go like full like Gundam, you know, you should really take it like all the way. Just take it to its extreme, make it awesome. Don't have it like a halfway house. Then again, I don't know. I like mechs so much that like so many different versions work, and like there are versions where it'll be like a military style Gundam and that'll be like really cool. So I'm kind of disagreeing with myself, you know. You can do anything and make it cool as long as you commit to it, I think is the moral of the story. You know, actually, I hear about Brigador a lot, like a lot. And like, honestly, I don't know that much about it. I should probably learn. It's obviously a well-liked mech thing, right? But I don't even know where to find more, because like, I looked up stuff about it and it was like, I don't know, I just couldn't find like a clear starting point, you know? To be like, oh, this is what Brigador is, when I was searching. Like, I don't even know if it's tabletop or like a PC game or really what the situation with it is. Yeah, the Titanfall 2 Titan designs are amazing. That would be kind of awesome, Thundy. Probably not in scope for what we're doing with the game, but it would be very cool. There's 2 audiobooks, you can enjoy it without even playing the game. The mechanical descriptions are 20 feet max, making its way through the residential block really tasty. So is it what kind of game is it? Is it a tabletop game, or is it like a PC game, or what are we looking at here? Is it like a, yeah, like... Sorry for putting you on the spot and demanding the Brigador explanation, but I finally found someone who knows what it is, and I need to know. Hello, Moth. Everybody gangsters so the church starts walking. I think some things are cool about 40k, and some things are like, it's like too much. But I'll tell you one thing I really like is the like Imperial Guard tanks. They're very cool. It's a desktop, top-down tactical game with mechs. Huh. I may need to find this, because like, I'm just gonna search on Steam right now. Yeah. Ah, Okay. Yeah, I see. And it's real time, right? It's not like turn-based, it's real time. You know, I actually think when I first saw Brigador, I thought it was a twin-stick shooter because when I looked up on Steam now, I've seen it before, and I just thought it wasn't what it is, right? I thought it was a twin-stick shooter based on how it looks. Well, this is pretty cool. I mean, there's a Steam sale very soon. Very, very soon. I think it's 2 days. Oh wait, people wanted it to be a twin-stick shooter? Oh, that's crazy, because like for me it's the opposite. Like I'd say I was less interested in it because I thought it was a twin-stick shooter. Like I'd say within the mech genre, the two most interesting for me personally, number one, cockpit mech games, of course, right? I'm making one, of course, it's going to be what interests me the most. But number two is like real-time strategy control games. Is this for missiles or just rockets? Yeah, this is for missiles. Tracking guided radar missiles. So it's kind of funny that I have like the opposite outlook to all the other people, or like a lot of other people. But that's unfortunate, because the game does seem kind of interesting. If it is a twin-stick shooter, it's still interesting. It's just not interesting for me personally. But like, now it is interesting for me personally. It's a different story. But that's unfortunate that their marketing kind of hit the mark wrong. It's a bit like us, right? With the VR situation, where a lot of people think that EOD's a VR only game. When that could not be further from the truth. All systems no, learning from the doormats. Yeah, let me like grab that, put it on one of my tabs to watch later. Yeah, so Thundy, like a lot of people, and this kind of surprised me because when we first started making EOD, we were like, all the people who are interested in EOD, like if you're interested in EOD, it's going to be because you're a fan of Battletech Mech Warrior and you want to have like a tactical, realistic, like mech sim experience that is very different to what Mech Warrior does, right? But within the same genre of being a mech game. That actually did not really turn out to be the case. Most people, I think, come from a general interest in mechs derived from war robots and other like popular kind of games at the moment, which really surprised me a lot because I didn't even know about war robots until after like a long while like into developing EOD, when people started getting interested in the project and they were like, oh yeah, I love war robots and I'm here because of that. And it's like, huh, that's super interesting. I've never even heard of this game before. But as it turned out, like it was a mobile game in like 2016 or whatever. It had its like most popularity when I wasn't really playing any mobile games at the time. Yeah, no, I think I'm not saying like everyone is a War Robots player who's come to EOD, but like it's It's an overwhelming sentiment, if you know what I mean. Like, it's something I just hear a lot. Like, more than I hear, like, the people who come from Mech Warrior. People are often saying they've come from War Robots or, like, other mobile games, which surprised me a lot, but I guess it shouldn't, because the mobile game market is a huge market, right? And as mobile gamers kind of grow up and start playing real video games on computers and consoles, rather than mobile games, they're going to want to find things that scratch a similar itches, and I guess here we are. Whereas, like, I guess most MechWarrior fans are pretty satisfied with what they've got, which, fair enough, they're good games. Also, we did market mostly on TikTok. So, you know, you're going to get a lot of people who are, like, more into mobile stuff because of that. Bambo, they gave you like a lifetime addiction, you know, just casually bundled in with your PC. They're like, oh yeah, you know, here's your PC and here's a lifetime mech addiction. It's dangerous. You should need paperwork for that kind of thing. You like metal chicken shaped vehicles? Well, you're in the right place. Like, everyone here is on board with that. And if anyone is not on board with that, I'd be a bit confused, and I'd ask them how they got lost. I kind of really like the so like when you're designing stuff like this, one thing that you can really like bring into your mind is like, how is metal made, right? There's like three options. There's milled, where you have like a big block of metal and then you cut it into shape, and milled metal, like, really expensive, not great for like batch production, takes a long time. Then there's stamped metal, where you just like push a piece of metal into the right shape. And then there's like cast metal, and like cast and stamped I think are the most common for like military production. Like, if we look at this reference image up I have here, like this body here, definitely like pressed metal probably. This sections here probably pressed and welded, or stamped, sorry. This bit here, like, maybe milled. I'm not an expert on metalwork, but like what I do know is that when you follow the rules of metalwork to make your things to either be in the shapes that are physically possible with cast, milled, or like stamped metal, you just get a nicer appearance. Like, I'm not in love with this model right now, but you can imagine these parts here were probably milled and cut from a block of metal. This top part here is probably my favorite part of the model so far, and it's got this like stamped like runs on it for like strength. Like, this part probably is the most realistic and interesting looking part to me right now. So I don't know, I like to think about these things as much as I can. I'm not a master designer or anything, but it's good to have the thought processes, I guess, and that's something I've been thinking about for a little while this year. We're getting absolutely slammed with Fat Rat songs this stream. I don't know if I can take it anymore. I like the music, but it's like a very, oh my god, it's a very certain energy. It brings a lot to the table. Better since like 2018 for some year. I mean, pretty accurate, right? Like that's about the right time period, I think. I like the music, but it's like the kind of music where you can only handle so much of it before it does your head in. Something's a little wrong here. You see these bolts have sunk into the metal, which is not quite right at all. Very unusual. This feels like my speed right now. I'm kind of chilling a little bit. We're making the model. It's a bit more of the relaxed tunes time, you know? We're not going too crazy with this. Oh, I actually like how that looks in movement. That's quite satisfying. Oh yeah. That'll do the trick. Yeah, probably true to be honest. But they do visually serve a purpose, right? Like they give me a little bit of a visual crutch here, so they're doing their job well enough in any case. Why is this stuck through the metal though? That's what I need to figure out now. Something's not mirroring, right? What is this? There we go. Fixed. Stretch there. The music? What is that? Oh yeah, bit of the old Risk of Rain 2. It's such a good game. I love my friends so much. No, Rodrigo, you got it all wrong. No. This is my own thing. I don't really even have like MechWarrior stuff on my ref sheet because I go for a very different visual style as much as possible. You know, there's still a mech, right? Like you can't make a mech not a mech, but it's not like that kind of mech. I don't know if that's true or not, Thundy, but I would like to hope we're at least we're doing our bit, right? We're doing our part. We're doing our part like a, you know, like a, what is that movie called? Oh, can't remember. But we're doing our part for the Mech games. No, you're alright, Rodrigo. I just don't like, I don't know. I wouldn't say I don't like the comparisons because it's a Mech game, right? It's obviously going to have comparisons. I just like to think we're doing something very different. Starship Troopers. Thank you, Mom. That's the movie. I knew it was Star something. Tidying up this corner a little bit here. you making a mech game, or are you just playing them? Because honestly, it's all doing our part for the sort of mech game, like, kind of, I wouldn't say necessarily resurgence we're seeing, but like they're, you know, I think we're holding pretty steady on popularity for mech games. Ignore me just absolutely trashing this part of my 3D model while I figure out what I'm doing. Honor stands no chance. Sure, it's being ruined as we speak. I messed up my mouse sensitivity. Okay, there we go. Normal. Kind of imagine this as like a service access panel here. Your weapon like a grappling hook? Probably not, to be honest. Like, EOD isn't really, how do I put it? Like, there's mobility stuff in EOD, but it's like, it's not really that kind of game. Like, there's only a very limited number of things. One of them is like the HMK, high maneuverability kit, that lets you jump. But like, we have very strict like controls on like what we put in as like maneuverability stuff, because the type of maneuvering we want you to do in your mechs, maneuvering that has consequences. So if you get into a spot, we want it to actually take like a minute for you to get out of that spot. So you're going to be like thinking ahead of time, and you're going to be thinking ahead of time, and you'll be like, where do I put myself, you know? Where's the right place for me to be in this particular kind of mech I'm piloting? How would this thing be reloaded? Probably almost, I would say it would be like a VLS cell on a ship, if you know what that is. I think I've got pictures of it here. Like, it's like this, where like it gets flipped up. But actually, Here's an image of some guys reloading a VLS cell for your convenience. Is it showing up on the stream right now? I think it is. Let me check. Yes, it is. These guys here. Basically, I think you'd point it up the way, and then you would use a crane to drop the missiles into each socket. And in the game, when you're reloading, you walk into this like large like reload bay right now, and then what happens in there, it's slightly magical, to be honest. It's slightly magic, but you come out the other side, you're fully reloaded, and like let's just say like in the lore purposes, they definitely have a crane in there. Or like whatever it takes to get you ready again. So yeah, so it'd probably be reloaded like that. I think most weapon systems like this in real life are reloaded by basically pointing them up and then grabbing a crane and putting the stuff in. So this model here it's not finished, but like it's in a decent place right now. So I'm going to move on to doing some of it needs like more details, which I will give it. But I'm just going to move on to doing the like the entryway and the rockets. You've been designing lots of mechs for engines of destruction like concepts. Are you in the Discord? Like you should share them with the other members of the community. I'm sure they'd like to see them. There's a channel in there for basically specifically the purpose of like sharing your like stuff, like anything you make artistically, like your own game projects, things like that. You know, Danad, I'm rather fond of that idea. I quite like that idea. Yeah, it could definitely be like that. And then the whole section gets slotted in. Yeah, that's a cool idea. I might do that. These do not seem that huge. I mean, they're not outrageously large. They're just fairly big. Some of the EOD stuff is big, but yeah, it's not as big as these VLS cells. Yeah, a lot of these weapons do area damage, like AoE effects, you know, around your target, so they'll have like an explosion, and then whatever the explosion radius gets hit. Big rocket warheads. It would be kind of cool to have like a shell-based artillery. It just raises a few game design questions. Yeah, it's like semi-realism, right? It's like just enough realism to be fun, but not too much realism to bog you down, you know? I see you over on Twitch now, Kijiko. Why do I get a feeling the Straft hat is going to be deployed momentarily? You don't see a mortar in the weapon? Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so if we did the mortar, we would actually probably make it follow the same game system as the missiles for a good reason. I know that might sound like kind of lame off the bat, but we would do it because I guess I'd say the reason we would do it is because it would just make it work better. Like, if you could fire a mortar anywhere onto the map, you know, like, think about it from a player point of view. Where are you going to fire it? Immediately into the enemy spawn, right? Immediately onto every capture point. Whereas if you actually have to gain data of enemy positions to even be allowed to fire, your hand is kind of forced into more interesting gameplay. I know it's like a bit restrictive of the player experience, but, you know, can't trust a player to not just want to fire straight into the enemy spawn. So that's my thoughts about it. Like, I'd like to make a mortar weapon that you aim using the radar. And then, like, the sort of uniqueness about this mortar would be you can't, you know, you can't countermeasure it, but you can move out the way, right? But if you don't move out of the way, you know, you're done. So that's interesting to me, I think. It provides a unique difference to the missiles. Kind of its own thing, like that. You could make it have a limited range. That's true. But, you know, like, mortars in real life can fire, like, 25 kilometers or more. So it's like, having a short range mortar and a long range one. Yeah, you're not wrong, you're not wrong. It could be done, it could be done. I guess I like the indirect fire ideas more if it integrates with our existing game system. Because then, you know, you stand more of a chance if you're on the receiving end to be able to deal with it. Yeah, well, we already have what we call high maneuverability kits, HMKs, and they let you, if you're in a light mech, you can mount one and you can have a very limited jump. Medium heavy mortars don't fire past 10 kilometers. Oh, okay, well, yeah, fair enough, but like, still, nonetheless, like, UD maps are not of the size where, you, like, the entire map would be in range, if you know what I mean. So, it's a tricky one. Because no one wants to get blown up in spawn, right? It's the one thing you don't want. We have something like that, but it's mostly, like, to answer your question, like, Thundy, like, we have something a bit like that, but it's basically just the trajectory of the weapons tends to limit that more than anything else, so if your weapon would, like, miss, You know, it's usually what would stop it. The weapon will miss at the short range because the projectiles like arc too high or whatever. Well, you've got you don't have too long to wait, Moth. About, I say it's a little while. It's a little while. It's just under 2 months to wait until playtest 4, which is going to be the big one. It's going to be a very, very big one. Until then, you can just like keep up with like YouTube and the Discord and stuff. Thundy, you should like check out some of our other videos. Like, that is how the game works. You get to build your own mech. You put on your own weapons, your radar, your cameras, your reactors, your motors, you know, loads of different components. You load them up. This game is about building your own mech and then taking it into the battles, right? There's a lot going on there with that. You can paint it all the different colors. You can add your own decals, you know, like, you really do create your own mech in this. Unless you mean in like the Armored Core kind of way, where it's like you're adding arms and legs and like torsos and stuff. In which case, yeah, we don't do that. Like, you have a set chassis, but like you get to do a lot with your chassis. I like the idea of manually assembling reactors. That's pretty cool. Do you get to drive your mechs around in that game you mentioned, or is it just like a constructing the mechs kind of situation? No, thank you, Bob. That's actually kind of cool though. Like, I might need to look this up. What's it called? Mech Engineer, I could probably get behind that, to be honest. Like, a good RTS mech game is something I've been after. Because, specifically, like, the game, you know, the game, like, Mech Commander 2 was really cool. I liked that game a lot back then. No game has quite scratched the itch, but yeah, Mech Engineer looks very neat. I'm gonna put that on my wish list, wait for the sale. Although, actually, the price of it, to be fair, it's not too bad. Let's see about making one of the actual missiles in here, because you will see the missiles when they're sitting in their little tubes and when they're coming out of their tubes. It's not very good, honestly. Oh well. Yeah, well. That's life. I don't know. I'll still probably find it interesting. You're not fun of me to play with sticks? Oh, you mean like a hotel stick, like a control, like a joystick or whatever, like a control stick? We might add that. Fundy. It would just be like a little layer game polish feature. You redeemed your points? Oh, I haven't been looking at Twitch. Okay, it's happening. Right, so quick little rundown for everyone here. Now you can't watch the full stream, that's okay, Reborn. You're about to see something horrible happen. You're about to see something terrible. On this stream, okay, this has been co-streamed on YouTube and Twitch. And what this means is, on Twitch we have these points, and with the points you can cash in prizes. And one of the prizes has just been cashed in, which means there's going to be a match of the game Straftat. It's a game on Steam for free. There's no extra slots. There is one Straftat slot. It's all you get for it. And basically, over the duration of EOD dev streaming, I have been challenged in Tetris. I have been challenged in Straftat several times. We have been challenged as a team in Straftat. And as of yet, EOD dev team is undefeated. Undefeated, I'm telling you, okay? And Kijiko is taking a shot at the throne right now. I'm downloading Straftat. I don't even know why I had it uninstalled. I love the game. It's a brilliant game. It was off the PC for some reason. It's going to take a minute. It's halfway done. We're nearly there. We're going to have a match of Straftat on the stream. There'll be a brief halt of the work, and then the work will resume. I'm going to model this missile while Straftat downloads. I apologise to everyone for the violence you're about to witness on this stream, because my victory will be brutal, or my defeat, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I like doing ridiculous, silly stuff when I'm streaming, so that's just one of those things. For all the people who've never been here before. We are 90% downloaded. Take a shot for the third time. I'm just going to BRB quickly, and then we're going to have the Straftat, and then we're going to get back to work. What do you mean by brutal or violent? I don't know. It's just the game. It's brutal. It's violent. It's Straftat. It's a great game, honestly. I'll be back in a second, and then we're going to have the match. I'm back. Let me launch this draft out here. Give me just a moment. Okay, we're getting the game up. Kijiko, I'm hosting a public lobby. Keep joining lobbies. I'm going to kick everyone who's not you. That's the strategy we're going to go for here. Here's Draftat. There's the view of it. Let me hide the window. First time. Brilliant. Kijiko, straight away. There's a pop-out image hidden. For the game on screen, don't worry. The game is on screen. The audio for the game is on screen. Guys, the gaming will be brief. And then we will get back to 3D modeling. First to 4 wins, I would drop that down to first to 3 wins. Here we go. I have to remember how this game plays. What the situation is in play. Come on. Oh, I gotta reload! Okay, it's not a great start for defending the title, I have to say. Not outrageously good. Damn, okay. I'm not too good with the trombone. I think I got this. Okay. Nice. Okay, we're a point up. We're a point up. Oh no! Oh no. Me too, Deadly, but unfortunately we're a very unusual stream interlude right now. The giant robots are on pause. The dev team's honor is at stake. We've been challenged in a duel. It's going pretty good for the dev team here. We're holding it down. Oh, not the bathroom again. Ooh, ooh. Come on, come on, come on! Oh, ho, ho, ho. No, the trade. Come on, shotgun, do it. There we go. Whew. It's gonna get one more point. In fact, I think that's it. I think that's curtains. That's curtains. That's curtains for strap that. Right, we'll get back to 3D modeling now. GG, GG, yeah. I nearly just accidentally clicked the stop streaming button. That would have been very funny. But yeah, that was one of the interludes there. There'll be no more interludes on this stream, I believe. Back to business. Back to modeling. Back to Max. I mean, I have my music back as well. Thundy, I can't imagine what possibly could have prompted your Jabak dream there. I couldn't imagine. You want to be this plonker? Don't call me a plonker. Rude, rude, man. You beat me in my own game once, you got beat me in Straft Tattoo. That's tough. I think I'm easier to beat at EOD than I am to beat at Strafta in a weird way. I'm a decent little mech pilot, but I'm not the best mech pilot ever. A plonker's a plonker, fair enough. But yeah, no, I mean, just on Straftat, I've just played it a lot. I've just got a handle on the game. So I kind of have like an unusual vibe idea for this rocket. Like I want it to be like really, like not that pointy, you know. Like I want it to be almost like a bit square, like a bit blocky. I think that just has some potential to be interesting for this kind of launcher. Now it does need to have control surfaces because if it doesn't have control surfaces, it can't be like tweaked, right? It can't steer in the air, and obviously it needs to steer in the air. So I do want to add some fins on it for believability's sake. Very important stuff. You got 60 hours in Straftat? Okay, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Please win, it's for the community. I've considered that, like, if someone wins, we should just, like, remove it forever. Like, you can never play Straftat again on the stream, like, if someone actually wins. So whoever wins will be immortalized as the last winner. And then you have to move on to, like, the next game, like someone has to beat me in Tetris or something. If EOD had an actually available version right now, like, all the time, then obviously we'd use that too. But, we have Straftat pulling stand-in duty for the 1v1s. Gosh, plonker. You love saying plonker. It's a fun word to say. Well, I can't deny it. I can't deny it. So when you see these missiles in real life, the ones that get shot out of like these like multi-launch like artillery systems, plonker just means dafty. Like it just means someone's an idiot, basically. Like in like a fairly light-hearted kind of way. It just means you're an idiot or someone's an idiot. You're here for Tetrio. I mean, I think it won't let you because don't waste your points because we can only do like one of those per stream. Or like so, like we can't chain them back to back, or we're never gonna get the work done here. And you know, we're here to make the game. So save your challenge for the next stream. I should, if I've set it up correctly, I won't let you do it. But if it does let you do it, just don't do it because we need to get the stream going. So I'll just have to delay it to the next one anyway. Sorry to throw a wrench in the plans, but the silly things can only be so silly. We just have to get their models done. And trust me, you wouldn't survive on Tetrio. So devastating. You said something IRL. I'd say, you know what is the worst? Like, just generally, like, internet memes. Like, you know, like, the whole, like, Francis Higginsism stuff. Like, that stuff is, like, so glued in my mind. Like, it has such a disastrous impact on my vocabulary. A general, like, way of speaking. Yeah. Just a little bit louder, so. We're getting pretty. Like, we're in a pretty good place for this model. What are you guys thinking about it? Because, like, for me it feels about right, but, like, of course it does, you know, I'm the one who made it. But to me this seems like a decent looking thing. It's kind of hard to make something that's so boxy look interesting, but I think I did an okay job by putting these, like, top panels on it. We already got 300 euros. You're 38. Yeah. There's some like dumb shit posts that we really like in the EOD Discord. That's what I'm quoting right now for those who are lucky enough to not have consumed those complete brain worms. Why do I feel like Sid, like Sid Iralis? Why do I feel like you and Kijiko know each other, and you've seen like the real life impact of Higginsism and the addiction to those shit posts? Well, maybe not so real life, but you know what I mean, like the pathologic obsession with dumb memes. It's a possibility, yeah. Hello Samuel, it's going pretty good. We're just working on this model. It's a missile box that opens and closes. The design is pretty much finished. I'm just like adding like details and polishing it up a bit, making it more visually appealing for people. Welcome to the stream. We have this little challenge we do versus people who are watching every now and again, and we are so far undefeated, and that has carried on today. Oh, thank you, Samuel. I'm in deep, deep focus. By that I mean my brain shuts down when the work really starts. Or at least it's a lot more difficult to really just talk endlessly. I don't know how proper streamers do it. Good fun to give it a go though. We're most of the way there, mind you. This is nearly it, I think. Not a lot left to do. Well, I mean, there's still quite a lot left to do, but there's not a lot left to do for this high poly model. A high poly model, for those not necessarily involved with 3D modeling, is basically first you make a really detailed version, and then you make a more optimized version for the game, and then use the really detailed version to create the textures for the optimized version. Is basically the way it works. think I'm pretty satisfied with this, to be honest. I keep a relatively consistent detail level for EOD stuff. Like I don't go too crazy on everything, like, because I basically just need them to be at a level of details where I can like quite comfortably like reproduce it like over and over and over again, you know. So like weirdly, like not weirdly, I'm just kind of like at a point with this song where I'm like, yeah, this is fairly detailed to a level that's probably about right for EOD, like the matches the style of the game, you know. So what I'll do next is, and I may do this on stream or I may do it off stream. Blender is quick. Basically, I'll just create the optimized version of this model, get some like particle effects and everything in for it, get it implemented, and so, and it should be good. I'm just thinking, is there anything like drastic that it needs that it doesn't have right now? And I think the answer is no, which is good. Because if it was yes, it would be back to the drawing board. But no, I think we're actually pretty good right now. Yeah, I think I am gonna call it on this stream pretty much now. I'm gonna go take like a lunch break, get some actual food to eat, and then I'm gonna come back and finish this model off stream and then post it on the Discord by the end of the day, in theory. So, thank you everyone for coming to watch. I will see you in the Discord, on the Patreon, on YouTube, wherever I see you, in the game, in the next test maybe. Until the next time, bye bye.